What's up, Alan? Ben, good evening. Happy Saturday, everybody. Steve, Sarah, Sally, cheers. Connie Ruiz, Lance, Lee. How's everyone's weekend so far? Chris, thanks for joining. Hopefully you're well. Ben, good evening. Mohammed, cheers. Always a pleasure. DC322, Alan's is good, watching a little hockey. I think the Rangers played last night, right? Ben says hola. We'll get started in a minute, everybody. I'm going to try to head down to the West Village. It's been pretty busy in the city today. Lots of people, lots of tourists. And I think above all else, it's pretty cold. 54 degrees and windy. Very, very stark difference from the 75 degree weather we've been having. It's funny because once Halloween ended, literally once the clock struck midnight, it seems like every single store, every single building just automatically switched over to Christmas. Here's another look at the Louis Vuitton building here. Hey, New England Crypto, Esmeralda, cheers. Thanks for joining. Wow, Alan's Times Square is jumping tonight. Maybe we'll try to go right through the belly of the beast. We'll see if the internet holds up, but I think the West Village is going to be really fun to check out tonight.
Oh, no.
Oh, today was the New York City Marathon, too. Totally forgot about that. So congratulations to anybody who ran the New York City Marathon. Pretty cool. This is Trump Tower. We'll go ahead and get started in a minute, but first, we'll just do the quick audio and visual check. If you guys can hear us and if we're streaming in 1080p. Oh, is it really Lance's time? The marathon's tomorrow morning? For some reason I saw everybody walking around with marathon stuff today. Interesting. Anyway, just leave a thumbs up in the chat if the audio's good, visual, all that good stuff. This is the Prada store. ETC33, what's up? Sunshine After Rain is here. Ben's has been reviewing expansion plans for various companies. I'm on the board of big things coming. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. We'll have to talk about that maybe next week, the week after. I'm crafting an email to send you or respond to your email. W. Peters says hello from Fargo, North Dakota. Good to see everybody in North Dakota. Hey, photos from around New York. Long time no see. I trust you're doing well on this blustery day. Professor Dario, cheers. Gene 1649. Now, for those of you who are new here, Saturdays is kind of when we just, mosey around the city. It's pretty much our night off, so it's going to be very light on the financial discussion, but I think we covered a lot last week. Pretty much all of the major tech earnings came out, and we covered that in great detail. Tesla has now reported, Amazon as well. Microsoft, Apple, Meta, Earnings have been solid. Collectively, minus Nvidia, because Nvidia didn't report yet, the big tech companies brought in about $101 billion in profits. This is the Peninsula Hotel here. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to be walking downtown to the West Village tonight. And we're right on 5th Avenue by the St. Regis and the Peninsula Hotel. Reggie 44, what's going on? Jeff in Southern Tier, New York. Richard Taylor. Robert, what's going on? Allie, cheers. Anyone have any fun weekend plans or do anything interesting so far? I spent a lot of time today in Tribeca. Cool little neighborhood. Let's stay on 5th Avenue and go right down past the one and only Rockefeller Center. We'll see how everything's turning out over there. Perfect says I'm going in voting. That's right. Next week is the big week, everybody. Election day. Now, politics aside, it is a little strange that Election Day isn't a recognized holiday where everybody gets off. That's correct, right? Election Day in the United States is not a holiday, meaning everyone's working as usual. Is that true? I'm not a big politics guy, but there was many people typing and complaining that they're going to have some issues voting because they have to work. Brian Emps is correct. Loin East is correct. Now, how crazy is that? I mean, let's conceptualize that. For all those Americans in the chat, which is about 80% of us, according to the YouTube analytics, we are electing the leader of the free world, and we don't even get a day off for that. Like, at least close the post office, at least close the banks, shut down the stock market, close the bond market, so we could focus on what we're doing over here. This is St. Thomas Church. Beautiful, beautiful here on 5th Avenue. But it's pretty absurd, right? I think that's a perfect word to describe it. Steven says, yeah, it's pretty absurd. Anyway, it's wild. It's almost as if it's by design. Right? If you went to someone who had no idea about elections or any idea how elections worked, and you said, what do you think? Do people get off so they could have time to vote, or is it not a recognized holiday? Steve says most states have early voting. Texas has just finished. There's no excuse not to vote. I get that, but I think more rational, if we're electing a leader, we could just say, this is Election Day. It's a national holiday here in the United States. Everyone do what they need to do, and that's it. Anyway, so this is pretty exciting here, everybody. This is East 52nd Street and 5th. This is the Cartier store, and it looks like they're just getting to work on putting up the holiday decorations. Should be pretty cool. Clark's federal law dictates that your employer must give you off time to vote. Your shift covers polling times. Yeah, but then there's reality. The reality of the situation is not everyone has a boss or a company that's understanding. I understand that it's the law, but many people hold like a grudge against you if you have a terrible boss or something like that. Hey, Richard Taylor, what's going on? Good to see you. Richard says, I do not think it should be a national holiday. That's a little strange. Anyway, I guess I don't care enough to debate it. Bree Grams, cheers. Good to see you. New York City seems very crisp tonight. It's a very cold, very crisp night. Lee says more than 55 million people have already voted. What is that in comparison to previous elections? Is that a big turnout? Is that a smaller turnout? What do you guys think? You know, I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty excited. It is exciting, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, if you're voting or not, if you're participating or not. It's like watching the Super Bowl, but more exciting. You know, you get to see which, as the states come in, if they're called or not. It's a fun time. I'm sure many of you are probably going to election parties and things like that. Yes. Sunshine After Rain says you can't buy alcohol on election day. What do you think? Yeah, voting while drunk. No voting while drunk. Breathalyzer tests at the polls. It's hilarious. St. Patrick's Cathedral's looking great. Miss Umbrella says fun time. Try anxiety inducing. This guy, did you see that guy? This food delivery bicycle just whizzed by, running the light. Crazy. Oh, Mike says VP Harris is on SNL tonight. Well, that explains the line that we saw last night. If you guys were watching the live stream last night, we were walking by 30 Rock in the Rainbow Room, and people were camped out, literally. If you go back and watch last night's broadcast, wrapped around the block for tickets for Saturday Night Live. That explains it. I did not know VP Harris was going to be on SNL. Hey, Jeans is here in Arizona. They already said expect 10 to 14 days to count the votes. 10-4. Oh, look at this. This is the NYPD's emergency service unit outside St. Patrick's Cathedral and Rockefeller Center. Probably because the VP is going to be here. Now, when I wanted to be a police officer, this was, my original plan. When I went to college, I wanted to be in the NYPD. This was my dream unit to be in, the NYPD Emergency Service Unit. I just think that's a pretty cool unit. They get to carry those long guns. They look very militarized, I guess. Pretty badass people, right? Anyway, hey, what's up, Blaze? Welcome to New York. Doesn't look like there's too much movement right outside of Saks Fifth Avenue. But it does look beautiful. Look at that. One Vanderbilt in the top right-hand corner with all those American flags. Sleaze, you were disqualified, too smart. Hey, I mean, the NYPD Emergency Service Unit guys are sharp guys. Many of them are ex-Green Berets, Special Forces guys. They're impressive, really, really impressive people. Esmeraldas is, so Tom, what happened to that goal? I think just being in the city and being exposed to different things kind of changed that path, I guess. Oftentimes when you're a kid and you're told to do something, and that's really the only thing you're exposed to, that's kind of what you gravitate towards. But at the end of the day, when you get more exposure to other things around different people, your priorities kind of shift. And being in New York City, especially around, the banking, the hedge fund business, finance in general, just and tech, there was a big tech boom when I was in college. Just doing a comparison of the pay scales, very blunt. bluntly put. Kind of shifted my gears the other way. Also, not to get too much into the political nonsense of it, I didn't really like the recruiting process of the NYPD at the time. I think it was being degraded a little bit. The morale shift in the department was quite noticeable, I'd say. Hey, Lee, this is ESU Emergency Service Unit, and Hercules units are top 2 units in the NYPD. I've never actually heard of the Hercules unit. What do they do? I know the emergency service units are the ones that are always, climbing up on top of the George Washington Bridge and all that cool stuff. And it's very difficult to get selected to those units, by the way, too. I mean, it could take years and years and years. Wow, look at this. Rockefeller Center looks awesome tonight. Look at this, guys. Hey, NBA Elias, good to see you. Welcome to Rockefeller Center. I think this is where they're going to project the election map on election night. You can see everybody ice skating. Pretty cool, right? You can see the Zamboni. Blue Ride, what's up? Thanks for joining. Also, another quick thing about the NYPD. Oftentimes, many of the officers try to put in, 2 to 3 years in the NYPD and transfer to a different department, like Nassau County, Suffolk County, which is on the eastern end of Long Island. I don't know the exact, so I don't want to state it as a definitive, but I believe Nassau and Suffolk County police officers are some of the highest paid in the nation. And it's a lot safer out there, right? Generally speaking, depending on what part of Nassau or Suffolk County you are, but they make a lot of money. Definitely make a lot of money. Blaze says the base pay is $150K without OT. For which department? Because I remember when I was looking at my would-be pay package for the NYPD, it was $45,000. And after 5 years, it goes up to like 90,000. That's just not even enough to live on in New York City, to be honest. So, and you wonder why there's a lot of turnover in the department. I mean, people can't afford to live. I mean, in New York City, in a place like New York, on even 90, after 5 years, it's tough. It can be tough if you're putting in a lot of overtime. So I have a lot of respect for the NYPD and all police officers by that fact. Fat Pizza says you could live on $90K in Queens or Staten Island. That's very true, but and that's a good point. But another thing that kind of shifted me away from not going into the NYPD, a lot of officers, right, will work in the city, obviously in New York City, 5 boroughs, and then they'll live on Long Island. And a lot of people were very upset about that. Let's see if we can see the VP coming in. This will be cool. And so a lot of the local politicians were pushing to ban NYPD officers from living on Long Island. Well, the reason why they did that is a security risk. I mean, if you're investigating and arresting and busting up, gang members in New York City, you kind of don't want to be living right on top of them, right? So you kind of want to live on the island for cheaper rent and safety. So when they were going back and forth with that whole thing, potentially banning those officers from living on the island, I didn't want to be part of that. Anyway, you could do it. You could live on Staten Island on 90, but it's going to be it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight, after 5 years. Let's see if we can go around the other side. For those of you who are just joining, we are now right outside of NBC News Studios, and we're trying to get a look. I believe the VP and current presidential nominee Kamala Harris is supposed to be attending or hosting SNL tonight. There's a lot of people gathering. We'll try to go around the block and see if we can potentially capture the arrival on camera. We'll see. Yeah, WBC says in the 80s all the NYPD officers had to live in the city. That's true. They made that change, but now they want to change it back. That's true. Blaze says Long Island is expensive. Yeah, now it's getting expensive. Everything's getting expensive. I feel as if everything's getting expensive now, man. But I will say this, right? Because I know a lot of people like to, jump on the inflation bandwagon. There's a lot of, I should say, starter apartments in New York City and Manhattan. The rents are coming down. I mean, you could look at some studio apartments on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. You can get them for like $2,200 to $2,500. Now, the place is not going to be like a Shangri-La, but prices are coming down for rentals. It's going to be a little shoebox, studio apartment, but rent is coming down. Stevens, his real estate prices are being inflated by private equity. Trinidad says, hey Tom, what's the temperature like? Temperature's a complete 180 from what it was yesterday and on Halloween. We had an 80-degree Halloween, and then we had the day after Halloween 75 degrees. Today was quite chilly, and it's cold out right now. It's maybe 52, 53 degrees. Lee says, Tom, Nassau County PD, January 1, 2018 until July 2026, and increase the top base pay for officers from $122,000 to $141,000. That's a lot. So that's entry-level officer, is what you're saying. That's big. Hence why a lot of people want to transfer to that department. Now, I remember, not to make the whole stream about policing, but when I was 17 and a half, and the reason why I say that is because that is the age you need to be in order to take the civil service examination for Nassau County. I took it on the floor of the Nassau Coliseum at 17 and a half. And that was a million years ago, and I think people are just getting called from that list. So think about that for a minute. I'm 29 years old now, and people are still getting called from the list that I took the exam when I was 17 and a half. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. Here we are, Radio City. I'm surprised they haven't blocked off the whole street if the VP is going to be here. Blaze says, Tom, that's why Long Island property taxes are $12,000, which is considered cheap. That's one of the many reasons. Depending on where you live, yes, property taxes on Long Island are crazy, crazy high, but I believe New Jersey has us beat. I'm not sure if we have any New Jersey people watching the broadcast, but, New Jersey has very steep property taxes, but the trade-off is you have very good public schools. Long Island, New York has some of the best public schools in the nation, And I also believe the state of New Jersey has very, very good education. So again, there's trade-offs. Yeah, Lisa, school districts are the reason for the taxes on Long Island. Correct. But Long Island, New York has some of the best schools. I think Oceanside School District is I think at least in the top 50 in the U.S. I'm trying to think of the other one. Actually, my friend's wife is a teacher at one of the best school, Jericho Public School District, is very, very good. It's a great school. And yeah. Now, here's something optimistic as we talk about potentially Miami. I mean, the property taxes in Miami have gone on a complete one-way ticket higher. So hopefully this will raise a lot of money for the public schools, and education in South Florida will get significantly better. As I have conversations, and this looks beautiful here, by the way. What do you guys think of this? This is the Christmas tree on top of Radio City Music Hall. So as I have conversations with clients and even friends who work in finance, banking, tech, as they move to Miami, the one thing that they're very hesitant about is the quality of the education in the public schools. If you do a comparative analysis between public schools on Long Island, public schools in New Jersey, and then public schools in South Florida, you really kind of can't compare it. So maybe as property taxes are going up, maybe there could be some significant shift, and the public schools down in Miami, Florida, Miami-Dade will get better. I mean, at least that's what I'm hoping, because my property tax bill has gone up like 200% since I bought my place. Anyway, what do you guys think? New England Crypto says, I'm not ready for the holiday season. I feel like we as a people need the Oh, you're ready for the holiday season. I am too. Once I started to see, some of the lights at Radio City and Macy's come on, I'm like, let's just dive right into the holiday season. I'm in. Hey, John Sunderland, what's up? Happy Saturday. NBA Elias, Tom, once again, thanks for the newsletter. Well written and informative. The net income breakdown from tech is wild. It really is crazy when you think about it. It really, really is crazy. And to NBA Elias's point, that's not even including NVIDIA. We didn't even hear from NVIDIA yet. So if you guys want to check out our free investing newsletter, you could type !news, NEWS in the chat. It'll drop the link to our Substack, and we just sent it out on Thursday. I think you guys are going to like it. Pretty soon, before you know it, right here in this fountain, you're going to have all of those holiday bells or Christmas bulbs right here. 10 Red Buff says, hey Tom, hope you warm up tonight for the marathon tomorrow. I was thinking about running the marathon, but you have to qualify for it. So I think you have to run a few other races before you can actually even be eligible to run the New York City Marathon. That's how crazy of a wait list it is. But here's something funny, or kind of unique that I was thinking about. I may have brought this up on a previous live stream. What I want to do is I want to run the New York City Marathon, but I want to live stream it. So we'll be live streaming like this. I'll probably strap the camera to my chest or just hold the camera like this. And we'll run the marathon. You guys could literally run the marathon virtually. And all of the donations or super chats will go to a charity that we all discuss. So we'll take like a vote or a poll, So maybe we'll do that one year, but yeah, maybe we'll do that next year. I'll have to contact somebody at the marathon because I don't know if you have to qualify, and I can't run other races just to do that. So, but I think it'd be cool. It'd be a fun thing to raise money for a charity, and virtually, like an experience for the viewer, virtually going over, what is it, the Verrazano Bridge, I think, where it starts, ending in Central Park. I think that'd be pretty cool. Anyway. For anyone in the audience who's a marathon runner, what are the top marathons to run? London, New York, Chicago's big. What's another one? I think New York and London are the most sought after. Oh wow, Joseph says in 2013 I won an entry to the New York City Marathon. Cool. Did you run it or what? Oh, Boston Marathon, obviously. Yeah, Peter, Soho Joe, what's going on? Patrice, welcome. Tokyo. I didn't know Tokyo had a marathon. Yeah, that's pretty high up on the list too. Boston Marathon. Dante Rose, cheers. Happy Saturday to you. Reggie says LA. Well, congratulations to the city of Los Angeles on winning the World Series. It was almost a clean sweep of the Yankees. What was it, 4-1? Something like that? Clean sweep. The thing that kind of sucks, though, is that they won it in New York. They weren't able to win it in their home stadium. Anyway, guys, as a little bit of Wall Street history here, this is 745 7th Avenue. This used to be Lehman Brothers. Now it is Barclays Investment Bank. So if you ever watched one of those documentaries on the Great Financial Crisis, and if you saw all of those videos with the bankers coming out with cardboard boxes, they were all coming out right through those revolving doors right here. Joseph says, yeah, I ran the New York City Marathon, but with lots of security because it was after the Boston Marathon bombings. That's terrible, man. Mean Hornet says, what really happened to Lehman Brothers for real? Well, they were the sacrificial lamb of Wall Street.
She was like,
Put very blunt. The sacrificial lamb of Wall Street, let's just say that. Oh wow, Alice is my mother is a Barclays Bank manager. Very cool. What's up, Long Island Duck? Cheers, Mike. Good to see you. This is the 1 train station uptown in the Bronx. You could also take the 1 downtown if you cross the street. Greetings from Peru, welcome. Mr. Fine Arts says, Tom, do you short stocks? Not usually, no. Which has definitely played to my advantage over the years because the general market, generally speaking, has been up. Again, if you look at the data, the market, the S&P 500, is going up about 70% of the time. It's just a small 30% when the market takes the elevator down, as you could say. Alan says, do you remember where that holiday display was last year? I'm not even sure where to describe it. We saw it many times. Oh, and it had the music. Yeah, that was right on Saks Fifth Avenue. So you just can't recognize it because the building looks completely different when there's no decorations on it. But that is directly across from Rockefeller Center, and they have the whole holiday display, which I believe is put on by LVMH, because they had that picture on the investor deck, or the earnings deck, I should say. Yeah, but Saks Fifth Avenue, it should be up soon. I don't know when, but speaking of things coming soon in New York, November 9th, I believe, the Christmas tree is going to be at Rockefeller Center. This is Din Tai Fung. J Mercedes 7 says, hey Tom, just saw Times Square is packed with the Dia de los Muertos event. That is the annual parade event in Times Square now. Let's try to check it out. We'll probably be buffering, but I think it's worth it to check out. I think that'd be cool. Ooh, wow. Michelle K says the Wall Street tree should be there soon as well, which is great because a hot take for everybody. If you're visiting New York City during the holidays, if you go right outside of the New York Stock Exchange, in my view, that Christmas tree looks a little bit better than the Rockefeller Center tree. You'll be able to see both ones on the live stream this year, but we'll cross to the south side by Juniors. Dennis Kim says, hey Tom, where's NYU? NYU is down near Washington Square Park, 8th Street, NYU. But NYU is a massive, massive campus. It's pretty much like the entire city in New York is your campus. There's many buildings that are owned by NYU in and around Washington Square Park. But I would say generally, 8th Street, NYU. You also have the Stern School of Business, the business school. Times Square does seem to be pretty busy tonight. You have Junior's Cheesecake. The original location, I believe, is right outside of Atlantic Terminal, Brooklyn. Haven't been to Atlantic Terminal, Brooklyn in a long time. Reggie 44 says wild swings next week for the stock market. You know, hopefully we get like a crazy tail risk volatility event where the S&P starts to really roll over here. I think that would be a big buying opportunity. Because let's face it, right? Regardless of what side of the political spectrum you're on, I think any rational person that I've talked to that's supporting Trump or that's supporting Harris just wants it to be over, right? I think most people just want it to be over, and they're kind of sick of all the political grifting is probably the best terminology for it. Also, could you imagine living in a swing state right now? How many of you watching this broadcast are living in a swing state? Every time you turn on the television, anytime you turn on the radio, you're probably getting inundated with political advertisements. Not to hijack the stream and turn it political, but I will say, you know what podcast I listened to today? And my good buddy, who's like a lifelong Democrat, crazy Harris supporter, he's one of my best friends, which is funny because I would lean toward Trump. I would say I'm a Trump supporter, and he's like a gung-ho Harris supporter, but he's one of my best buddies. He sent me this podcast, Joe Rogan, and how am I forgetting this guy's name? It was a really, really good interview. I really enjoyed it. It was a 2-hour interview with John Fetterman, Senator Fetterman. That was a really, really good conversation. Check it out. I mean, he's a funny guy. You know, politics aside, I wouldn't say I align with his politics, but he's a funny guy. He's a cool guy. It's pretty good. I won't spoil it for anybody who wants to watch it, but have a listen. Fetterman is a really, really funny guy. Yeah, John Sunderland says Fetterman seems to have healed from his stroke. That was one of the main things they talked about, and he had a captioning device. So when he does these big interviews, he has essentially like how people would watch a television program in a different language, just so he could read along with it, like captions. But the conversation was around his stroke was focused on the healthcare in Pennsylvania, and he was saying, the specific type of stroke that I had, if I didn't have the appropriate healthcare or this specialist that just so happened to be there, I wouldn't have made it. Which is really eye-opening that some states, particularly way out in rural America, if you have one of these, manic episodes or strokes or something like that, it's almost like a guarantee that you're not going to make it because they can't get you to a medical facility in time. It's kind of scary. So, thank God that he survived that. This is kind of a cool view looking all the way down into Times Square. Look at the traffic backed up. The cell text is I am from PA and it sucks. I have a lot of friends from high school that went to college in Pennsylvania, like Penn State. They said they loved it. But yeah, it was an interesting interview because he said the specific type of stroke that he had, there just so happened to be this doctor that was at the hospital that he was rushed to that was a very specific specialist in the type of stroke that he had. And he said, look, if he wasn't there, it's very, very possible that, he wouldn't have made it, which is wild. Which is really, really wild. It kind of made me appreciate being in New York. New York City has some of the best healthcare, right? You're close to all of the major hospitals, so God forbid something, tragic does happen. Generally speaking, you're going to get the best doctors, immediate healthcare, great access, so. Blaze says as you get older, close proximity to hospitals are definitely important. Yeah, that's one of the, I would say, the upsides and the downsides of New York City, right? Because as you get older, most people can't really afford to live in New York City because it's just too expensive. But at the same time, healthcare is really good here. Even out on Long Island, too. Nassau, Suffolk County, the healthcare is really, really good. Hey, what's up, Sal? What's up, Sal? I saw that clip, too. Funky Child says, I like Philly. Has some of the most beautiful arts and architecture. Well, sometimes I go on Zillow and look at apartments for rent in Philly. And I'm like, damn. Obviously, just as a reminder that real estate is all about location, location, location. Because you can get a really, really beautiful, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartment in a really nice neighborhood of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And it's probably about a 50% discount from what it is in New York City. And some really beautiful apartments, too. Here, if you want to get something decent, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom apartment, you're talking $4,500, depending on the building, all the way up to maybe like $15,000 a month if you get a place in like Tribeca. All right, I'm going to try to endure Times Square for a little bit longer, but then I think I'm going to have to turn around and call it a day here. crazy busy. Seems like it's peak tourist season already. Reggie 44 says go to Little Italy. We'll head down there for sure. I was in Little Italy today. I got an espresso from the Cannoli King, actually. You have the 2024 numerals up there. Pretty soon we're going to be doing a live stream and you're going to have the 2025 numerals in Times Square. You have some NYPD officers here. City's chaos. Crazy, crazy. I think the FDNY ambulance drivers should know not to drive right down the middle of Times Square. You should probably take an alternative route. You know, that's one thing I noticed. When I was visiting friends in the suburbs, people actually move out of the way and pull over for emergency vehicles. In here, there's such a high volume of emergency vehicles going off all the time that people are like desensitized to it and they don't pull over. Anybody else notice that? I'm surprised we haven't started buffering yet. Crazy. Looks like they're setting up some sort of stage here. Greg Peters, very nice. You know, what the heck? Since it's Saturday night, let's try to climb all the way up top to the red steps. Let's see if we can do that. I haven't been up there. I think I've only been up there once in my entire life. I think it may be too crowded to do so. This is really good news, though, for the city of New York, because tourist activity is, I mean, on a trajectory like NVIDIA. This is actually kind of cool, not gonna lie. Let me see if I can go to the wide angle lens. I think Times Square is bright enough for the wide-angle lens to work at least a little bit. We'll see how far we could go. We'll see if we can meander our way to the top.
Nigga, I need over the 547.
How many people you think are in the middle of Times Square tonight? Yeah, New England Cryptos is end at 10 p.m. too. All right, let's go to the very top. As far as you can go, we'll go. It's actually pretty fun. Soho Joe's is a couple thousand easy. Now, for those of you who don't know, if you kind of see this opening here in the billboard, right here, that's actually a stage. So sometimes they have musical events and concerts. I think Shakira one time performed in that little stage area. Anyway, if you guys are enjoying the live stream tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. Let's try to make our way down now. All right, we'll try to make our way down.
Turn around and then see.
All right, let's see if we can exit to the right or to the left. I'm surprised the internet's been holding up. Or is it buffering quite a bit? Hey, 10 red buff, thank you so much for your $2 donation. Appreciate it. Hey, Dale. Fun fact, if you see this Express store on the corner here, I used to work there as a teenager. I used to work from 9 p.m. Until about 3 a.m. I would stock the shelves. Well, it was called the floor plan. Oh wow, let's actually go over here and look at some of this stuff. Wow. It's buffering now. This thing is pretty cool. Look at this. What do you guys think? This thing is cool. Okay. Let's try to get a look at this thing and then we can head out. This is cool. I think they're taking this down now a bit. Okay, let's try to navigate our way out of here now. Hey, the mighty bull. Hey, Loose 72, what's going on? Let's try to exit to the right. Well, I think we endured enough of Times Square for tonight. But that was cool to see all the stuff. So we'll head over to 8th Avenue and then we'll make a left. And we'll head past the 42nd Street Port Authority bus terminal. Yeah, Rich. This is scammers and sleazeballs in Times Square. You definitely do have your fair share of grifters in Times Square, for sure, for sure. Can't argue with you there. It's cool to walk through every once in a while. We haven't been in quite some time. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed that, feel free to leave a like on the video. Click the subscribe button if you're new. Yeah, Zal's Port Authority is pretty scary. Definitely is. It's Halloween 24/7, 365 at the Port Authority bus terminal. Hell's Kitchen, a new musical on Broadway. Loose 72's Times Square used to be adult bookstores. Yes. Giuliani is the guy who really cleaned all that up. There's no way you could take your kids to Times Square back in the day. I mean, Times Square looks good. It's safe, lots of police presence. Jacobs is where would you recommend investing $100,000 for the next 2 to 5 years? I can't advise. Just to be blunt. I think it depends on everybody's unique situation. What I will say more vaguely is this, which may be a hot take, but I think for most people sometimes it's probably better to focus on how you can really increase your earnings potential, right? I think when you're young, yes, it's good to set aside money to invest for the future, 100%, invest early and often. But also the main focus should be how can I increase my earnings potential exponentially, right? Whether that's I'm in a very lucrative career, whether that's I'm a, whether it's, you starting your own business and you could scale it or something like that. That's probably worth a lot. It's worth it more to focus on that than saying, hey, I have, $20,000 and I'm going to try to trade it into, $2 or $3 million. If you have a business idea or something and you could plow a bunch of cash into that, in the short term, it's probably not going to make a lot of money. But in the long term, if it can drive significant revenues and you're going to be making a ton of money, well, then you can make very large, concentrated bets in a select few things. That's kind of what I'd say. Like, if you think about all these, really, really wealthy guys, like Bill Gates, for example, right? Bill Gates has a family office, right, which is pretty much run like a hedge fund. But he made his money building a company, Microsoft. So sometimes when I see people that like get excited about the investment business, they say, "Oh, I'm going to stay home all day and trade penny stocks," which I think is like it's a waste of resources and a waste of time. But if you can focus on the big picture, right? What is an industry that I could get a job in that has a huge earnings potential, or maybe I have a business idea that I could scale that company to multi-million dollars in revenue. That is, I think, the best quote-unquote investment, right? Hey, Joel PM says watch the Paul Tudor Jones documentary. Nice recommendation. I knew you guys would like that. It's an awesome film. Bertha, what's up? Huge Texas cash flow is more important than investments, is what you're saying. No, it's like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, there's a lot of people that when they talk stocks or when they come across like a YouTube channel or something, they're like, hey, I'm interested in the stock market. I have 20 grand. Let me try to trade it into, $2 or $3 million or something. And they think that they're going to, trade their 20 grand into a lot. I'm not saying you can't do that, right? But the time invested to do that and the probability of success is so slim that it's worth more of your dollars, it's worth more of your time to allocate that intellectual capital on growing the top line or increasing your income on something, right? Again, whether it's a certain skill you have, maybe you're good at coding, maybe you're a good chef or so. I don't know what it is, right? Whatever your skill is, then you can have an asset that is generating significant revenue or income for you, where then you can make big concentrated bets, right? Because if you invest $20,000, right, in a stock, and it goes up 100%, you make 20 grand. Okay, that's not really going to move the needle on your equity curve. It's a lot of money and it's great and all, but if you can get to the point where you have a career or you have a business that is bringing in significant amount of money, then you could slam large bets down in a few concentrated things over long duration. Now, if you want to get into the investment business and you just want to manage money, then I would say go the OPM route, which is other people's money. Maybe you have a few rich people in your community, you ask them for, a check, you raise money for whatever venture you're launching, you build a deck, you pitch it as an investment. But if you don't have any money, it's kind of hard to make money with no money. So most times, as we're standing outside of the New York Times building, hedge funds get started with OPM, other people's money. Family office stuff, like we kind of talked about, Bill Gates, he got his wealth from Microsoft. He didn't get his wealth from, trading, penny stocks. So pick something, maybe it's your own business, maybe it's a career, and if you can invest, a good 5 to 7 years or 5 to 10 years in that, and now you're making, $500,000 a year, $1 million a year, now you can, really throw some weight around. Obviously easier said than done, but if you're young and if you're curious, if you sit down and just, ask ChatGPT or ask Perplexity AI, what are the highest paid fields, right? Or I have this business idea. What is the total addressable market of this business that I want to start? And maybe if it's such a small TAM, well, maybe then you don't start that business, right? This is the Port Authority bus stop. I mean, what do you guys think of that? Like, what are your thoughts here in the chat? Hey, what's up, Melissa 2087? Cheers. Hey, what's up, John? This is Tom. Any plans for selection night? Haven't really decided yet. We'll probably do some sort of a live stream. Probably some sort of a live stream. But my problem with the selection night is there's just going to be too many trolls that's going to overwhelm the chat, I think. Now, speaking of the New York Times and newspapers, did anybody see the whole debacle that's going on with Washington Post? I guess Jeff Bezos was kind of throwing his weight around and saying that he doesn't want the Washington Post to formally come out and endorse a presidential candidate. So there was about 250,000 people that canceled their Washington Post subscriptions, I guess. No, I know, yeah. Someone says you could put it on subscribers only mode. I guess I could, but I don't know. It's also, tempers are probably going to be flaring that night. And I really, as you know, I do this stream to kind of relax and unwind. And I think a lot of people are going to be very emotional on election night or selection night, depending on who you ask. Hey, what's up, Brad's Brains? As if you're asking a live stream where to put 100 G's, I think you need to drop that stack in an index fund and sit back. There's an interesting... anybody watch that interview with Orlando Bravo, CEO and founder of Thoma Bravo? Now, Thoma Bravo is a private equity firm that exclusively focuses on enterprise software. Orlando Bravo is a great guy. I had the pleasure of meeting him at the Bitcoin conference in Miami a few years back. And he was asked that same question. Orlando Bravo was asked that same exact question. I think this was on the Dave Rubenstein podcast. And he said, if a young girl comes to you and says, hey, you have $100,000, where do you invest it for the future? Orlando Bravo of Thoma Bravo said, I'd put it in an S&P 500 index fund. Which is great advice, but I guess the point I'm making is if you look at all these big private equity guys, right? Steven Schwartzman probably being the Mac daddy of private equity, right, with Blackstone. Orlando Bravo, Thoma Bravo, Dave Rubenstein. These guys are giving the advice to the young generation of broad advice, right? But if you want to get to where they are, they raise money and they were corporate raiders and they specialize in leverage buyout deals or LBOs. Okay, you're not going to get to, whatever Steven Schwartzman's worth. What is he worth? Like 12 billion, or probably way more than that. I mean, Blackstone alone. The point I'm trying to make is you're not going to get to be worth what Orlando Bravo is worth, or what Steven Schwartzman is worth, or what any of these people, CEO and founder of KKR is worth by just, dollar cost averaging in an index fund. You'll get rich, right? You'll get wealthy. But I'm saying if you want to really, throw the football down the field and be in, on Wall Street doing those big deals, you kind of have to go all in on those deals. Do you see what I mean? So that's kind of, there's a good book. I'm not sure if you guys heard of this gentleman, Scott Adams. He was the creator of that comic strip Dilbert. He kind of talks about this, that the wealthiest people will give just the safe advice to the masses, but if you're talented and if you want to pursue a career in a specific industry, then you have to model essentially what those people did to get there, right? Which is take an extreme amount of risk and really put everything on the line. And I think you need to be willing to go broke multiple times too. I mean, look at, Bill Ackman right now is, of our time, one of the greatest investors of our time, one of the most successful investors. But if you look at the history of Bill Ackman, he failed at his first hedge fund. I believe his first hedge fund was Gotham Partners, and I think that went under. So it's about the persistence, being able to stay in it for long periods of time. Hey, what's up, Doc 7? Cheers. Hey, Brad's Brain says, I agree 100% with what you're saying, Tom, but you're investing in yourself, in your education, in your career. Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah, 100%. Agreed. Yeah, Brad's like, so buy Herbalife and Chipotle. You know what I never knew, speaking about the election, and Brad, I don't know if you knew this or not. The reason why Ackman may be really coming out against Kamala Harris is when Ackman had that big short position on Herbalife, right, and Carl Icahn was quite long the stock. The AG at the time, and again, this is what Ackman says. I don't know, I'm just repeating what he said. I believe it was Kamala Harris could have shut down the company at a stroke of a pen, which would have made Bill Ackman a lot of money. Maybe there's some personal vendetta, so to speak. Did anybody see that recent interview with, it was Bill Ackman on, was it Squawk on the Street? You got to watch it for yourself. I don't want to misconstrue his words, but the law firm that Herbalife hired to essentially fend off Ackman, right, when Ackman had that big short thesis out on Herbalife, was Kamala Harris's current husband, was one of the lead attorneys on the case, I believe. So, allegedly, the only reason why she didn't shut down the company, which predominantly preys on minorities, it does, is because they strategically hired, and they meaning Herbalife, hired Kamala Harris's husband as the attorney. This is what I heard. I mean, I may be misconstruing it a little bit. Go watch the interview, okay? I'm just totally paraphrasing. Go watch the interview for yourself. I never knew that up until about a week ago. So maybe the reason why Ackman is really hammering the gas pedal, pumping Trump, so to speak, maybe there's a little bit of personal beef between the two. You never know. Anyway, not to cause a big ruckus in the chat, this is the New Yorker Hotel. But in my view, right, looking at this objectively, Herbalife is, in my view, one of those pyramid-style type schemes. From my understanding, the people at the very, 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 very top make all the money, and the people at the bottom who are, I guess, hired in a pyramid-style layout to sell these supplements have to take on all of the cost of acquiring the supplements from the guy or the girl at the very, very top of the pyramid, with no guarantee that they'll ever be able to sell those supplements to somebody else. And if you look at the demographic breakdown, and you can read the short thesis, Pershing Square's original short thesis that's archived online, I think there's a Reddit forum about it. They ran the data, and Herbalife predominantly operates in low-income communities, people from low socioeconomic statuses, and they market it as a get-rich-quick sort of scam, actually. I have to be careful with what I say. Allegedly, right? I don't want to get sued. But that's how they market that company, Herbalife, to people. At least that, from my understanding, from the research that I've done into it, that's my conclusion about it. Brad's Brain says Ackman is 100% correct in his analysis of Herbalife. The first time I ever heard about Herbalife was when David Beckham signed that big contract with the LA Galaxy. Anybody remember that? I still have my David Beckham jersey. LA Galaxy is Herbalife right across the front of it. Now, speaking of hedge funds on Wall Street, we're going to shift gears and talk about the quantitative type of hedge fund. You see these two towers in the distance, everybody? Those two towers are the official start of the Hudson Yards. You have 1 Manhattan West and 2 Manhattan West. Now, there's one of the most successful quant shops on Wall Street. No, not Renaissance Technologies. No, not 2 Sigma. No, not Hudson River Trading. No, not Jump Trading. No, of course not. Do I look like I smoke? It is D.E. Shaw, David Shaw & Co. And they used to have an office at 1166 Avenue of the Americas. I actually used to work directly under their office. They've moved into 1 Manhattan West, the brand new and beautiful Class A office tower. And that's kind of what we've been seeing throughout the entire commercial real estate market in New York City. If you read the news, if you watch kind of television, you would think that the New York City commercial real estate market is in disrepair and it's all gloom and doom and everything's going to crash. Not exactly. You just have a very bifurcated market where there's unbelievable demand for Class A office towers and office space and pretty much no demand for anything else. The Class B and the Class C type. So those 1980s, old fluorescent lighting office towers, they're sitting vacant, but all of the major companies are paying a premium, upwards of, from my understanding, upwards of $200 a rentable square foot. Now, if you're not familiar with, the comps, that's crazy high. $200 a rentable square foot, for office space, that's freaking massive. Those are huge blockbuster numbers. And D.E. Shaw is just the latest company to ditch their previous lease at an older building and move into one of the new buildings. This is the Moynihan Train Hall. Yeah, Dock 7, Vernadoville. You know what, let's actually go right through the Penn 2 district for Dock 7. Dock 7's a huge fan of Vernado. Ticker symbol VNO. For those of you who are not familiar, this is the brand new Penn 2 project. A complete revitalization of the Penn district. Oftentimes we also talk about Billionaires Row. And Vernado were the developers at 220 Central Park South. That is one of the many homes to Citadel Securities' Ken Griffin. He owns 3 floors at 220 Central Park South. Beautiful kind of limestone building. If you go back on our channel, I actually filmed a standalone video, an all-inclusive walking tour of every single building on Billionaires Row. We did a deep dive into when they were developed, how many floors, how many units, average price per square foot, what are the developers. And if you're interested in New York City real estate specifically, it is getting close to the holidays. Maybe it's a good gift to buy a friend or family member, stocking stuffer. The book is called Billionaires Row by Catherine Clark. I always plug that book on the live stream. But that is all about New York City real estate. So if you're interested in air rights, how do these development companies get approval to build so tall and so skinny? What is an air right? What do the air right battles look like? Who are the big developers? Who's Extel? Who's Harry Mackellow? You can find out in that book. Check it out. Now, Catherine Clark is one of the main real estate journalist for the Wall Street Journal. Super talented. Go ahead and check it out. Wu's Visions is too tall and too skinny in my opinion. I believe the one you're talking about or you're referring to is Steinway Tower, 111 West 57th Street. I believe that was JDS Development Company and Shop Architects. That is the skinniest residential apartment building in the entire world. 60 units only in the building. Kind of crazy. But the tallest building on Billionaires Row is Central Park Tower. And that stands at 1,550 feet tall, developed by Extel, Gary Burnett's company, who also developed 157 West 57th Street. Okay, this is the brand new Penn 2 project. This is the new entrance to the Long Island Railroad. And right up here is the Black Box Theater. Hey, what's up, Soho Joe? This is Michael Dell's place. Yeah, Michael Dell has a full floor unit, I think one floor above Bill Ackman, at 157. Mike G says that was a great video post, Tom. Thank you so much. There is also a book on 15 Central Park West. Oh, let me take a screenshot of that, Mike. Thank you so much. Yeah, 15 Central Park West is an awesome building too. Many Wall Street CEOs, former CEOs live there. One of which being the former CEO of Goldman Sachs, Lloyd Blankfein, who we actually ran into on the live stream about 3 weeks ago, right outside of his place at 15 Central Park West. All right, but more importantly, what do you guys think of the change if you haven't seen this already? This is just an amazing, amazing transformation here. You have a brand new entrance to Madison Square Garden, all brand new entrance to the Long Island Railroad. Looks really, really good. Let me see if I can go to the wide angle lens. You can see Madison Square Garden in the background. My favorite touch about this project is the ceiling. You can kind of see all the LCD, the big LCD screen on the ceiling. Hey, what's up, Mike Skate TV? What's up? It just looks clean, it looks modern, looks how it's supposed to look. Peters says, I think that Steinway Tower has 46 units in the Steinway Hall building. In front of it has 14, equaling 60 total. That's correct. And the units in the Steinway Hall building are beautiful. Really, really beautiful. Speaking of beautiful, look at this. Great shot of the Empire State Building here. 123 says, hey, is Astoria, Queens safe at night? Yeah, Astoria, Queens is awesome. Astoria, Queens is a very, very fun neighborhood. And unfortunately, it's over the years, it's gotten very expensive. Same thing with Long Island City. You know, if you compare what Long Island City looked like 15 years ago, and you compare what it looks like now, my God. You have these ultra-luxury skyscrapers, ultra-luxury condominiums. LIC, Astoria, it's getting expensive. This is the new entrance to Madison Square Garden. Now, speaking of Queens, New York, if you're visiting New York City, and if you're looking for kind of a fun, like non-tourist thing to do, go ahead and take the 7 train all the way to Flushing Main Street. That's the largest Chinatown in New York. And that has some of the best food in the city, in my opinion, or in New York. And it is very, very cheap. Flushing, Queens. Last stop on the 7 train. You can get on, you can actually get on not too far away from here, right at the Hudson Yards. And just take it all the way to the end. Last stop. Flushing Main Street. Depending on what time of year you come, you could take it to Mets Willett, and you can go see a Mets game too. Let's see how busy Koreatown is tonight. Solos is RIP Mets. Yeah, we almost had a Subway Series, and the Mets and the Yankees pretty much got swept in the World Series. We'll go all the way over to Koreatown. Hey, Charles Hong, what's up? This is Yo Tom from DC. Hey, Charles. We're about to check out Koreatown tonight. We just did a sweep of Vernadoville. Man, it just got freezing cold. Just as a quick reminder, I did send out our free investing newsletter to everybody on Thursday. If you like these financial conversations that we talk about each night, check out our Substack. It's free. If you type !news, NEWS in the chat, the Nightbot will drop a link to our Substack, where we publish every other Thursday. Damn, Peters is currently 48 degrees in New York. Certainly feels like it. It actually feels colder because the last 2 days was in the 70s. Look at this car. Any car enthusiasts in the chat? What is this thing? This thing looks crazy. It says Richard Mille. Richard Mille's like a watch brand, I think. Looks cool. Gunner 2X is McLaren 765. It's a pretty cool car. Richard Mille McLaren. Very cool. Peters' Richard Mille watch costs 6 figures. You know what's funny? I wrote an article not too long ago, I think this was maybe 2 months ago, about how I think we've bottomed in the watch market. So In terms of resales, luxury watches have been really getting hammered because if you look at the correlation between 2021 when stocks were, flying and, bonuses on Wall Street were huge, the prices of watches just went through the roof. And then we've been in like a 2 to 3 year bear market for Rolexes. So if you're a watch guy, which I'm not, I think this is actually probably the time for you to buy a watch for yourself, because you could probably get a significant discount on the secondary market. I think we'll just make it. Geez, NBA Live is $400,000 for a McLaren. Crazy stuff. That's like my house. $500,000 to $600,000 for a car. That's like somebody's driving my house around. Try to put that in perspective for a second. That's pretty incredible. Just casually driving a house around the streets of New York City. If I had the money to have that McLaren, I don't know if I'd be parking it on 32nd Street outside of Penn Station. Probably not the smartest and safest place to keep it. Anybody here from San Francisco? All my buddies in SF say that whenever they've had a car, they've had it broken into. People just smash the windows, steal whatever's in the glove compartment. Is that still going on, or has the SFPD been able to tame that dereliction behavior? This place is awesome here. KK says, yeah, I live in SF. So has it improved? Is there truth to that, or is that kind of hyperbole? If you park your car, near in and around Market Street, is it like a guarantee that it's going to get broken into, or what? Hopefully things have improved a bit. That doesn't really happen much in New York, to be honest. Hood Patriots says, hey Tom, I live in Marina District, somewhat slowed down in the city. That's good news. No, they are bringing drones to San Francisco to catch people. Wow, so the PD are flying drones around to catch people? It's actually a pretty good idea. Hovering drones all around. NBA Elias says, I live close. Has gotten a bit better, but not much. Can't leave a penny in the seat. All right, let's walk through Koreatown. If you guys are enjoying the live stream tonight, feel free to hit the like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. We do these streams every night starting at 8:45. Look, I've said it before, I don't really have an expertise in the San Francisco market, but I think the real estate market there is bottomed, particularly for residential. You can get some pretty good deals in SF right now. And as soon as they solve the crime problem, all of that residential real estate is going to re-rate. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. If anybody lives in and around the San Francisco Bay Area, now is actually probably a really good time to buy either your primary residence or, a duplex, triplex investment property. You're probably buying at the bottom of the market. Now, the big if is, will they solve the crime problem? Will they solve the drug problem? I think they will. Even the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, has been, I'm not a big fan of his, but I give credit where credit's due. He's at least, attempting to solve and call out the extreme, I would even just consider a dereliction of duty by a lot of these local government entities to, solve the homeless crisis, to, combat crime. He's like, look, we're giving all this money out. It's not a money problem. We've given you unlimited amounts of money. I mean, the state of California is one of the wealthiest economies on planet Earth. It's not a money issue. So we're going to take the money away if you don't fix it. So I give him kudos to that. You got to give credit where credit's due. This is Grace Street coming up. A lot of people out tonight in Koreatown. Damn, look at this Cybertruck. This is what I'm talking about right here. Birth, this is people are making lots of money on the homelessness. That's the corruption I'm talking about. You've essentially allocated money to these government organizations to solve the homelessness, but it's essentially created a system where if they solve the homelessness, they essentially fire themselves. So people want to keep their cushy six-figure government jobs, and thus they're incentivized to keep the craziness going. But this is an awesome Cybertruck, and I love the matte black. So whoever owns this Cybertruck, 2 thumbs up. I think this is an amazing wrap choice. This thing looks like the Batmobile, honestly. This thing looks like freaking Batman here. Real quick in the chat, thumbs up or thumbs down on the Cybertruck? I give this thing 2 thumbs up. This thing is amazing. This looks like it would be something in The Dark Knight Rises, this Cybertruck. I think Elon did an amazing job with this. This thing is sick. If I ever get a Cybertruck, I think this is probably the wrap that I'll get. I love this thing. Hey, Sabrina Fair's in the chat. What's up? Out and about says thumbs down. Yeah, I know you're not a big fan of Cybertruck. But good to see you out and about. Cheers. All the way from Canada. Hopefully you're doing well. Troy Atmans is awesome. Cybertruck is now profitable, by the way, too. We found that in Tesla's earnings report. So long Tesla and long Elon Musk. Now, kind of unrelated, and maybe this is a topic of conversation for a weekday stream, but let's say that Elon Musk does have some sort, and this is assuming Trump wins, right? Just kind of play within these parameters. I'm not saying that Trump is going to win. I'm saying let's assume he does. And if Elon is appointed to some sort of position, would that, I mean, what is that going to do with his government contracts? Is that a conflict of interest? Because if he's working within the government and then his companies are being appointed all of these government contracts, does that pose an issue to anybody? I'm a serious question, just out of curiosity. Pretty cool Tesla taxi here. I was thinking about that today. Yeah, Sabrina Ferris says yes. Someone says, do the streets stay lively throughout the night? Not all night, but on a Saturday after Halloween, probably to about maybe 1 a.m., I think. Probably they'd stay this lively. Peter says it depends on if Musk has authority to allocate money to his businesses. I would say no conflict. I don't know. I mean, you could guarantee that the other side of the aisle is really going to hammer on that and cause a big ruckus. It's possible. I don't know. It's just going to be interesting to see what happens with that. What do you guys think of this view of the Empire State Building here? Hey, what's up, Alfredo? Cheers. Lisa says, has that ever stopped Trump from appointing somebody that poses a conflict of interest? I don't know. That's not really the question. I'm saying, would anybody take issue with it? Now, there's a difference, right? Because in full transparency, I wouldn't take issue with it because I'm a big fan of Elon, but also being fair and balanced. I can see how that poses a conflict of interest, and that may not be appropriate. Does that make sense? I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. I'm a big Elon fan, but if this Doge, right, and I think that's the acronym, DOGE, the government efficiency thing, if that's like a true blue government entity that's created, I could see how that could pose some conflict of interest there. That's all I'm saying. Which poses the conversation, should that be allowed? I think in order to maintain, fair and balance, Elon would have to do something, spin off, or step down his seat. I don't know. He would have to do something. Let's go back to 34th Street, but we will walk over to Herald Square. Yeah, Reggie 44 says Wall Street always gets involved. In the White House, no difference. Yeah, I mean, we could have a whole conversation about this. Now, about an hour ago when we were walking through Times Square, I recommended that everybody go listen to the Joe Rogan podcast with John Fetterman. It was such a fascinating conversation. And I'm not a Fetterman supporter in his politics. We're probably the exact opposite. But being able to hear and get a first-hand look into the political beast and the machine that is nasty, nasty politics, it was really eye-opening. Now, without giving too much away, because I really do believe everybody should take a listen to that podcast, it was fascinating. Just so fascinating. When Fetterman was, I guess, running for his Senate race, right, he kind of, tells the audience and tells Joe that he really didn't know what he was getting into at the time. Because he had about, I think the number he said was like $150 million worth of political ads being run against him. So doing deep dives into your background, attacking your family, attacking your kids to the tune of $150 million. It may have been more. And that just kind of goes to show the powers that be, right? I'm using air quotes. The powers that be, whether they be these crazy big super PACs, they have so much influence on our elections, right? Regardless of if you like Fetterman or not, I tend to not like his politics, but he does make a point. These massive PACs that have multi-millions of dollars, they just deploy quite literally hundreds of millions of dollars on political advertisements, the most, personal attacks, taking things out of context, clips, and just propagandizing it to the public. It's kind of hard to say that we have free and fair elections in this country after listening to that, because there's just that much influence. It was interesting. I think you guys will enjoy that podcast. It's pretty eye-opening. From my understanding, from listening to that, my big takeaway was whoever the machine wants, or these big packs, they're going to get them in one way or the other. And when they get the person in, that politician is pretty much bought and paid for. Hey, Bernard, what's up? What's up, Bernard? Cheers. Yeah, Reggie 44s is like all oligarchs. Hey, Cosmo Scary, what's up? Guys, what do you think of this? Macy's Herald Square, beautiful tonight. The largest department store in the world. Oh, look who it is, Techno Pink. From the Dominican Republic, the DR. What's up, Techno Pink? Are you going to make your way over to New York this holiday season? Hopefully. If you're in the neighborhood, if you're in the area. Send me a text, we'll meet up. Hope everything's good in the DR. Cheers. Cosmo, have you seen the holiday stuff inside Macy's? I've yet to go inside, but I heard that inside the store is already decorated for Christmas. What does that say? Give love, I think? What's up, Trinidad? This is which company is paying the highest dividends to date? I'm not too sure. I actually try to stay away from companies that issue outsized dividends. Oftentimes, that's a pretty big tell that the company, in terms of the share price, is going to underperform the general market significantly. So I actually don't like big dividend aristocrats. I think AT&T is probably the biggest example of that. Yeah, you're going to get, what is it, like a 7% dividend yield, but the stock, I mean, it's just a complete dog. Let's see if we can get a closer look to this, guys. We're having an official behind-the-scenes look of the hardworking men and women putting up the Christmas decorations on Macy's. Pretty cool. What's up, Chris? What is it, the top of the hour? What is it, 11 p.m. right now, guys? Stephen Bate. Let's walk a little bit down 34th Street. Maybe we could see what else they're putting up. I know. Kenny says it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, and it's just a few days after Halloween. Yeah, we really get the move on here in New York. They're putting up more decorations here. I mean, they've done an amazing job. Looks good. Pretty soon, guys, we're going to be doing the night before the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade live stream. That's one of my favorite streams of the year. I think we stay on to almost midnight looking at the rehearsals. So the main stage, I think the turkey is usually right here. Or is it on this one? No, I think it's on the other one. And we could watch them building the stage for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Oh, that's right, Alfredo Ruiz says we have to fall back. That sucks. I mean, we get an hour of sleep, which is the good news. But the bad news is we've entered the season of misery, as I like to call it, because after the holidays, you wake up, it's pitch black, you go to the office, you get out of the office, and it's already pitch black. That does suck. Next week, we're going to be talking a little bit more about Apple AI. I'm going to make it a point tomorrow to spend maybe 3 or 4 hours out of the day looking at some of the features of the Apple AI rollout or the Apple Intelligence, and we'll talk about it. I actually have to head back uptown, so we'll walk back down 34th Street. Hey, what's up, Clarence? As I just jumped on the stream, did you hear Kamala Harris is on SNL tonight? Yeah, we heard about that. So we walked past there like an hour ago, and it looked like the NYPD were closing everything off for the current Vice President of the United States. Should be pretty interesting to watch. But good to see you, Clarence. Cheers. Anyway, guys, we're hitting up on the 2-hour mark. I think I'm going to go ahead and blow out the live stream now. Hopefully all of you had a great Saturday, and we'll see you tomorrow. So thanks so much for joining. Appreciate it. Cosmos says, Tom, have you cast your ballot yet? I can't vote. I can't vote. Anyway, guys, cheers. God bless all of you. God bless America. And subscribe to the channel. Leave a like if you enjoyed the stream, and have a wonderful Sunday. We'll regroup with the Market to Look Ahead live stream tomorrow at 8:45. So thanks for joining. I had a really, really fun Saturday. And God bless you, and God bless America. Cosmo Scary, New England Crypto, Joseph Hardaway, Ben Solo, NBA Elias, Alfredo, Sally, Austin City Limits, Alan. Thanks so much. We'll see you guys tomorrow.